about meditation and the fifth element. And when we were talking about the elements, we were also talking about energy centers, which a lot of people refer specifically to the chakra system. Can you explain for people what the chakra system is?
The word is chakra. It's like church, it's chakra. It's not chakra. It's not French, it's Indian. So the way we say church is the same way we say chakra. And chakra means a wheel. So the energy center within our body is circular and it is spinning like a wheel. And we have actually 114 energy centers. 6 of them are outside our body and 108 are within our body. And of the 108, like we have at every fingertips, temple, like everywhere. Okay. And I will tell you a little bit more about that. But there are 7 energy centers that are predominant and they are along our spinal column.
Okay, so can you walk us through each one of the energy centers and tell us a little bit about each one, its function, where it's located and its function? How about that?
Yes, good. So the 7 energy centers in the body, the topmost one is in the fontanelle. It's the soft spot of the baby. So that's why they say never hit the baby over there, or, never touch anyone on the top of the head. At least in India, that's what we are always told. Don't touch the top of anyone's head. Don't, the concussions in the head are so violent and so traumatic because everything gets dislodged. The energy center in our brain gets dislodged. So we have 2 of them actually in our brain. The topmost is the fontanelle, and then we have the third eye. So the fontanelle is called the Sahasrara, and Sahasrara, I will spell it out in the captions. Sahasrara means 1,000, okay? So just for simplicity, it is depicted as 1,000-petal lotus, but it's upside down, it's inverted. So the petal is blooming downward. That's how it is, and there are 1,000 petals. And in our brain, it has been debated. I will not say if it has been proven, and of course, some people will prove it and some people will disprove it or doubt it or challenge it, and that's fine. Let the scientific community do that. But the ancient sages and seers from India, from the Himalayas, they knew that it existed. So basically, we have intersection of 2 neural pathways, and there are 1,000 of them in our brain. It's actually not exactly 1,000. It is 9 times 108, which is 972. So there are 972 intersection points of neural pathways in our brain. So these are the energy centers, okay? And a conglomerate, a collection of that is called the Sahasrara, or the 1,000-petal lotus. So it is inverted. And then in our third eye, and a third eye is not something like right over here where we have a physical eye, but it is an energetic eye. Like in the Bible, it is said, he who has eye will see. So what is that eye? It's not these 2 lenses. It is not these 2 eyes, because even if you close your eyes, Kimberly Ann, and ask you to think of your daughter, can you think of your daughter? Close your eyes.
Yeah.
And can you visualize her the way you know her best?
I can visualize her, but I can't.
Yeah.
It's not the same as her being right here, but I can certainly visualize her.
See her. Okay, now open your eyes. And how did you see her? How did you see her? Because your eyes were closed and she's not even in the room with you. But how did you see her? And that is the third eye, okay? It is basically an energy center, which is 3 inches in from between your eyebrows, slightly above your eyebrows, and you go 3 inches in, and from your fontanelle, you come 3 inches down, and wherever they intersect, that is your third eye. It's along the Sushumna or the central nervous system or your spinal canal. And you may be like, my spine begins here, how come it's there? But because that is the connectivity. So from your fontanelle, you come to your third eye. Then there's the throat chakra. And there are Sanskrit names for all of that, and I will not go into that. This is the Ajna, this is the Vishuddhi chakra. Basically, this is the chakra of Vishuddhi, means purity. And there's a parallel with astrology, the planets ruling. So this is Mercury, Mercury is all about your intellect. It's about speech. It's your throat. Okay. So it's your throat chakra. So we have 1,000-petal lotus, and in your Ajna chakra, you have a 2-petal lotus. In your throat chakra, you have 16-petal lotus. Now, mind you, like the top chakra is inverted, and the rest of them, when they bloom, when the chakra is activated and the lotus is blooming, it is upward facing. All the chakras from your third eye down, they are upward facing. So there's a 2-petal lotus over here. There's a 16-petal lotus over here. And the 16 petals have a sound vibration attached to it, which I will tell you, okay? Then we have the heart chakra. The heart chakra has 12-petal lotus, again, upward facing. If it is open, if your heart is open, your chakra is blossomed, the lotus is blossomed. If your heart is not open, it is not open completely. I'm sure everyone has a heart and it is open to some degree because they love someone in their life. So it is open a little bit. So it always blossoms upward facing. Then we have, this is called the Anahata chakra, or this is where we hear, Anahata, the eternal sound, where you hear it over from your heart. You want to kiss someone, you feel it in your heart. You want to kick someone, and you feel it here. That's what my teacher used to say. You can call the heart chakra as the kiss and kick center. And then we have our solar plexus, which is also the chi center. In Hawaii, we call it our imu, where the oven, where the fire is burning, the solar plexus. And that is a 10-petal lotus. And then we have our sacral center, which is around the genital area, our second chakra, which we call Swadhisthana. And I'll tell you how each of these chakras below are also connected to the 5 senses in your body. And then there's Muladhara, which is at the bottom or the tip of your tailbone, which is a 4-petal lotus. So Swadhisthana, or the sacral center, is 6-petal lotus, and then your Muladhara, or the root chakra, is a 4-petal lotus. And each of them have a triangle within them, which has the root sound also attached to it.
So interesting. I have heard lots of people talk about the chakra system, and I have never heard anyone use the different petal lotus system that you just described. Can you explain a little bit what the lotus represents in these different, in the system, and why they are different numbers of petals, how that all fits together?
So Sanskrit is a divine language. It is divinely channeled language. It is not a language that human beings came up with. It came from a higher source. And in Sanskrit, we have 50 alphabets, or 50 sounds. And if you count 2 plus 16 plus 12 plus 10 plus 6 plus 4, it is 50. So each petal is attached to one of those sounds. So like in the throat, we have 16 petals. So that is the 16 vowels in Sanskrit, Ang, ang, ing, eng, ang, ong, ring, ling, ang, oh, ong, ang, aha. So it's 16. Then your heart, yes, your heart has 12-petal lotus. So it is kang, kang, gang. So, I can make all the sounds. But because I'm supposed to be meditating on each of those sounds every day. So that's what I do. And each of those sounds has a vibration, has a frequency that when it is optimally vibrating at that frequency, you're 100% divine. Like you are unstoppable, you're omnipresent, you're omnipotent, omniscient. You have all the virtues and attributes of your own creator. So that's the job. That's the job assignment of a yogi, is to focus on their true nature and not get deluded by the 5 senses around them.
So then if you're focusing, like you're saying, the way you were taught through meditation, so does that connect you basically to the unified field? Is that where you're?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it's the unified field. And that's the energy centers. Those are the sound vibrations in each of them. And each energy center regulates certain organs in your body. Like your heart chakra is your heart and your lungs. So those who have a weaker heart chakra have breathing issues, have heart problems.
Yeah, so actually, I was going to ask you. So I knew that a lot of people have said that the chakras are related to different, when they're not in balance, they're different diseases. Can you go through each of them and just give us sort of the main areas that anatomically is related to health-wise?
Yes. But before I go through the anatomy, let me also go through the 5 senses, because we have 5 senses. So the throat, you know, it's for speech. We have the heart. It is for, you know, feeling. Then we have the fire center. Oh, and they're also connected to the 5 elements. They are connected to the 5 elements. I have to, you know, I'm always like, I'm talking about something and I'm like, oh, but this is why it is, and this is why it is. So I keep going back. So forgive me for that. So the throat has got to do with your speech faculty. You're able to speak. Your heart is feelings. So there are 5 Fs actually. Your throat is faith. Your heart is feeling, F. Your solar plexus, which is around your stomach region. It's not really your stomach. It's your navel center, right around that area. You can call it the stomach, you know, let's just call it broadly stomach. There we have a fire, and the fire has to be a healthy fire. And when you have a healthy fire, you have healthy metabolism, because there are skinny people who eat a lot but cannot gain weight. And they are as frustrated as people who eat very little and have a lot of weight and cannot lose weight. It's the same amount of frustration. So people who have a lot of deposition in their body, like a lot of extra weight that they don't need, that is curbing them from leading a healthy life, it's because they have a very low fire. They're always cold, you know, like, and it doesn't matter how much tea or coffee they drink and how many layers of socks they wear, they're always feeling cold, they're feeling chill. It's because the fire within them is very low. And when you have a roaring fire and everyone is cold and they are screaming and yelling like, man, what happened to the air conditioner? Why isn't the fan working? You know, I'm so hot, because the fire is within, you know, and it is a roaring fire. And no matter how much they eat, they can keep eating and they cannot keep any weight, you know, they just lose weight. For example, yesterday I was talking to one of my clients and he was like, I lost 10 pounds. And I'm like, yes, certain people, when they get stressed, they lose weight. And certain people, when they get stressed, they gain weight. You know, it all depends on your metabolism, the fire within your belly. Okay. And I mean, that when we feel nervous, where do we feel? We feel butterflies in the stomach. We have knots in the stomach. That is all from not having a healthy fire system. And or a healthy solar plexus. So there are lots of yogic breathing techniques that you can use to pump the fire and keep it in balance. And then the sacral center is your family center, your creativity, your feminine aspects, your family, all that is over there. So even men have feminine aspects. So it's not like just for women. It's because we are not defined by our genitalia. And the Muladhara, or the root chakra, it has got to do with our finances. That's the other F, the last F. And when we don't have a strong foundation, the Muladhara is not strong. We struggle with finances. We struggle with stability. We struggle with being able to provide for ourselves. So that's where, and people have like Crohn's disease and all that kind of problems with the lower part of the body, where they have elimination problem or urinary tract problem, things like that. That comes up from having an unhealthy root chakra or the Muladhara.
Excellent. Excellent. So you did give us a couple of hints, but just in general for people that are looking for more, you know, how would you suggest that people find out about their chakras? And if they're saying, oh, that sounded like, if they were hearing themselves in your stories and your examples, but how can they find out if they're really on the right track, if they want to realize what their energy centers are saying and where their imbalances might be? What would be a good way for them to assess themselves or find someone to help them assess themselves?
The easiest answer would be to find an Ayurvedic practitioner. find an Ayurvedic doctor in your neighborhood, on the internet, somewhere, who can look at you. And nowadays, maybe we are all 6 feet apart. So maybe they'll just look at your tongue. They'll look at your tongue and listen to your stories. And if they are practiced, seasoned, if they are seasoned Ayurvedic practitioners, just from listening to your stories, they will be able to tell you. They can just look at you, look at your eyes, the formation of your face, your ears, and they should be able to tell you, your lips. Like Kapha people have very pouting lips. They have large lips. They have large eyes. So things like that, when you look at a person's features.
Okay, go ahead. I'll be the guinea pig. Go ahead. Let's see it. Go ahead. I'm willing. I'm willing.
You're a Vata person.
I know, but tell everybody why. Tell everybody what you see, so people understand what you're seeing.
You have a petite frame and you are tall. You're skinny and tall. Skinny and tall people are visual. They are Vata. They have lots of Vata in them. They are very quick. They're very quick. You tell them something, they're super intelligent. You tell them something, they just get it. So, but then they don't remember stuff. They make too many promises and they're like, oh my God, I double booked myself. That is something that happens to Vata people. And again, for them, the throat chakra is very active. They can speak. They love to listen. They love to, but then you may be like, oh, they love to listen. They might be auditory people. Yes, they are. I mean, like nobody's just visual, just auditory. Everybody's a combination of stuff. But like an Ayurvedic practitioner would look at you and be like, okay, she's a Vata person. Maybe she's slightly constipated. I don't know. Maybe she has some diarrhea. I don't know. Because yeah, that those are typical of them, and so they need more grounding. So, and again, I don't want to talk about Ayurveda, but yeah, in Ayurveda, there is two things, there is your Prakriti, then your disposition, your true nature, the way you were born, and then there's your Vikriti, where the doshas come into play, where you went away from your true nature. And so an Ayurvedic practitioner would bring you back to your true nature, or try to get you as close to possible the way you were when you were born. So your body can be wholesome. It can live the life it was meant to live.
Okay, now I have a question for you off of that. So when a baby's born, is the chakra system in alignment or not, or could be, might not be?
We would hope and pray that every baby is born perfect. Every baby is born in optimal, ideal health. But unfortunately, because of modern day living, where people, do drugs or, they have habits that are not healthy for them, when they have a baby, it shows up in their baby. Like parents who are medicated, who are doing drugs, who smoke, who drink a lot of alcohol, who do not exercise, who do not sleep well, when they have a baby, their baby might have, challenges with their heart, their backbone, something. And it is unfortunate, but it does happen.
So then a child could be born with the chakra system out of balance based on what life was like, for them as a fetus and taking on.
As a fetus, number one. And because we are talking about chakra systems, it comes from India, where we are aware that a soul is not just conceived at birth and completes when it takes its last breath, because the soul was never born, the soul will never die. But the body is born and the body will die. So the soul just incarnates from its previous life forms into the next life form. So the way we come into our life is because of our past lives. Because of our past lives, we attract this set of parents, this family, this ethnicity, this nationality, and the journey continues. But at any time we have the choice to choose how we want it to be. Now that this is what I have, what do I do with it and how do I make it better? That is something human beings always have, is free will. But yes, it is possible that if in a previous life somebody had a weak heart, let's say, and they thought out of innocence that I am dying because of my weak heart, and because of my weak heart, this is my life. In the next life, they will attract parents with weak hearts, and the child, the baby, infant, when they are born, the mommy gets to go home and the baby stays in the hospital and the doctors work on the heart. The child goes through a heart surgery, and the size of a baby's heart is the size of this upper index of my thumb. And doctors, pediatric surgeons, they go through the baby's heart and operate on that heart and try to make it better. So yes, these things happen. Babies are born with sciatica or scoliosis. And they may say, oh, you inherited it from your dad or your grandpa. But this baby in another life did have a bad back or something, and they got attached. When we get attached to the symptoms and we make them our identity, our story, guess what? In the next life, we are born with those symptoms. The symptoms continue.
So we're going to keep learning that lesson until we are no longer attached to it, till we've learned it and we can let it go. Then we won't need to have that particular imbalance.
Mm-hmm. There are tons of stories, like so many incredible stories of people that the doctor wrote, like a Western medical doctor wrote a final statement for them. This is your life and this is how it's going to be for the rest of your life. And something struck them, either they met someone, they read a book, they saw a movie, they heard someone speak or whatever. And then they said, no, I cannot live like this. And I know some people who were in the 20s or 30s or whatever, they had a bad accident or something happened to them. And they were on disability for the rest of their life. And they chose not to take that disability. And they said, I'm going to do something. And they went the alternate route. They worked with holistic healers, Ayurvedic practitioners. They started practicing yoga one-on-one with teachers who literally helped them. And today they are yoga teachers or whatever. They are celebrities, or they're just common people, but they are experts in their field, and their body came back because they worked with their chakra system. They worked with yoga practitioners and teachers. They worked with Ayurvedic practitioners and healers and really got their body back, because nothing is forever. Don't let anyone write a death warrant on you and tell you, you have 6 months to live, you have 2 days to do this. No, the future is not here yet. And the power is all within you. The moment you claim your power and reach out and seek help, you will find it and you can get better just by aligning your own chakra system, but working with experts. Don't self-medicate.
Well, no, I mean, and you know a little bit about my story, and basically it's very similar to what you're just saying, is you can't have health if you're busy taking on the identity of being disabled or proving to people what you can't do. You're not going to stay in balance if you're being asked by a system to prove that you're not in balance. The two you can't have both at the same time. And so you have to, and really, if there's one thing I've learned, it's really at the end of the day, we're all responsible for ourselves, and we have to take responsibility. Yes, that means that you get help from other places, but at the end of the day, the decisions are ultimately ours, to make, as far as what we follow, who we follow. And I always say, you get where you go. So don't go to a surgeon and think he's going to give you homeopathy. Don't go to a yoga practitioner and think they're going to, give you pharmacology. You're going to get where you go. So you have to choose wisely who you entrust your care to. And then even then, listen and see what resonates with you. But I did want to go way back to earlier. Is there, and it may or may not be, you kind of piqued my curiosity with all of the lotus symbolism and the chanting ideas. Is there, or are there any types of chants that help us get in balance that you could teach us that wouldn't be too complicated for somebody like me? Something simple?
Yes.
For those of us out there that don't have the history with the chanting, that you can teach us?
The simplest chant is Om.
Okay.
Om.
Done that.
And think about it. Om isn't O-M. Om is A A-U-M. Think about it. It's A-U-M. And I'm going to tell you something, okay? Open your mouth and make a sound. No, you don't have to make it that wide. Just open your mouth and make a sound. No, 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 no. No, just open your mouth and make a sound. Now close your mouth. Keep making the sound. Now close your mouth slowly. So do you see? There's an
I went
open
to
mouth.
M. I went to
Yeah.
M.
Yeah. So so every sound on the planet, in every sound system, in every language, is between this open mouth and closed mouth.
Oh.
Every sound comes from that.
Now I have to be wise because, you know, okay, not wise, but like smart alecky. So when you say every sound, you mean human sound or you mean animals too?
Animals too. Like, okay.
Dolphins, whales.
Yeah. Every sound, every bird, everything, every sound, you know, just do it. You know, like yesterday I was just before bed, I was listening to something on YouTube and I love something called America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, all this got talent. I love it, all over the world. I don't care. And there was this lady from a republic whose name I don't know, but you can Google it. And she has a mouth harp. And she can make the sound of horses and so many things just from a mouth harp. And she
mouth harp? What's a mouth harp?
Harp. It's a harp. H-A-R-P, harp.
Yeah, I never heard of a mouth harp.
I know. Even I never heard it until yesterday. So she has this two wooden things that she puts in her mouth and she beats it. And she can make so many sounds. Like the horse neighing, the horse reeling back. Oh my God, yes. The wind and some birds and whatever. She can do so much. And the human being can do it if they know how to do it.
So what does the Om sound do for my chakra system?
Okay. So again, going to everything begins with Om and everything ends with Om. It is the eternal sound. When we are deep meditators and we shut down everything and we meditate, and we go deep, 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 then you start hearing the Om sound without it being on YouTube. You can hear the sound in your ears, and that's called the divine sound. And sometimes people say, oh, they have tinnitus. And again, that's another, forgive me for saying this, people say it's a story, but really those people are awakened people. But then they'll be like, oh, my ear is hurting, my ear is hurting, my ear is hurting. And we will talk about that in the mind-body connection. When your ear hurts, it's like, and then they change the situation in their life and the ear doesn't hurt anymore. It's basically, they just didn't want to hear someone close to them and their voice and what they had to say. So we will talk more about it when we talk about mind body, but it is like that, you know. So when you can hear these sounds, you're like sages, sadhus, they meditate for years and lifetimes to be able to hear the Om sound on their own, because that is the cosmic sound. You know, machines, motors, all sounds, everything comes from Om and goes back into Om. It is the Antarnada, or the eternal sound. It's the sound of all the planets and the galaxies and everything, constellations. It is the sound. It is the divine sound.
So if someone is meditating and they want to try something sound-wise, that might be a good place to start.
Yeah,
for them.
You know, just have Om being chanted in the background. And the best Om chanting that I like is Sai Baba chanting Om. He has got a very deep, you know, kinesthetic voice. Om. And just sit with it. And you actually, you know, all the debris that we have within us, you know, the energetic debris, you know, like you were cleaning the car right now. And, you know,
yes.
And wherever the car went and came back, all that energy is there around your car. And when you were cleaning it, all that you were cleaning out, like physically you were removing the dirt, but energetically we're removing everything that wherever the car has been and picked up and has come back, you know? So like that, in our body, this body is a vehicle, and all this energy, the people we see, we meet, we think of, we hug nowadays, we are not hugging, but whatever it is like if I hug you and you hug someone else, that other person is indirectly hugging me and I'm hugging them because you are energetically enmeshed now with them. So when you chant this, all the cobwebs, everything that is like holding on to you and no longer serving you, everything clears out. And if you can sit for a few hours, you come out like, you look at everything and everything around you is light, everything around you is pure, and you cannot see anything that's not right. Like everything is right all the time when you can chant on that sound, Om.
That's
Would be the
beautiful.
simplest mantra. That would be the simplest mantra, because in the end, everything else comes from Om and everything else merges into Om. So you don't need anything else unless your teacher gives you something. And we can talk about that in other conversations.
But I think that's a perfect place for us to end today, because it's the beginning and it's the end. So Om.
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 If I could be anywhere, I'd be here with you, sharing our healing hearts, our hope and our truth. Joy overflows here at the crossroads. Here at the crossroads. Oh,